has returned. Free from their imprisonment, ancient wizard kings come, seeking lost magics and new realms to conquer, turning all whom they encounter, by choice or by force. Through strife, champions arise. New unities are founded. And powerful arcane knowledge unlocked. As gods and mortals clash, the forces unleashed will shape a new age of wonders.
Hey there. It's been a while. I had things occur. And I had to focus on that here and there. Been dealing with health issues, always dealing with health issues. But it's also the aspect of when I'm not having health issues, I also have to be mentally in a place to be able to do this. So I have other games to work on as well on here for my channel, and I want to get back into doing them. Today I want to start off another series. I know, gotta work on multiple series, get them done, finish them off. Yes. This is a game I've had for quite a while. I actually got it when I got my Xbox back, a while back. Played it a little bit, but not much, and that was before a lot of other things. The majority of the DLC released. And when I got it, I got the season pack. And there's other stuff that's released since as well. So, this game is called, as you can see, Age of Wonders 4. This character that you see is actually one that when I first started messing around with it, yeah, so basically this guy doesn't exist anymore. I want to try and start off pretty clean, well, clean in a certain way. Now, Age of Wonders is a 4X strategy civilization kind of game. With some RPG mechanics. You're basically playing as the ruler of a civilization, and you have, at this time, 4 different types of ruler that you choose, which is, I'm just going to go into create faction.
Your journey starts here.
Okay. So, personally, for the past while, I've been entertaining myself a little bit with just making civilizations. So I have a list of groups that I've created. That one I'm gonna have to change. But I haven't actually played as any of them. So I'm going to show you the basis of the creation of your ruler and your civilization. But I have a specific ruler that I want to play as. and I'll talk about that when it comes to it. So, create faction.
What is your people's
Yeah,
form?
your people's form. Okay, so with this, you have human, elfkin, simian, monkey people, ape people. You can actually, have it so they don't have a tail, or they do have a tail. So, simian people, ogrekin, very, very oni. Elves, everyone knows elves. Humans, one of the, weirdos. Insectoids. They have a tail like an earwig. A little aggravated because they could have done a lot more with like the tails. I actually have one civilization that I designed to be kind of like scorpions, but they have the earwig tail instead of a scorpion tail. But I did what I could with the scorpion aspect. Sirens, goatkin, lupines, so wolf people, get your furry on. Avians, so bird people. Modern dinosaur people. Lizard folk. You'd actually give them different types of heads. They have like crocodile head, monitor lizard head, snake head, orcoids, classic orcs, dwarves, dwarfkin, halflings, goblinoids, felines, ratkin, toadkin, molekin. Okay, so we're gonna just do something very simple. Now, you'll see on the bottom left, it says traits. Well, what you can do with that is each form has a series of traits. Well, any of them. You could just hit X. You can change the traits out. You have 5 trait points that you can put toward the traits. And the traits have numerical values of 1, 2, or 3. And they can range from what terrain type that they are best suited to and start in, to how they are in battle, to how they resist things, to what kind of mounts your people have. So, right here, Blessed Dragon mounts, Death Beetle mounts, Dire Bear, Dread Spider, Eagle, Elephant, Graceful Judge, Mammoth, Nightmare, Pegasus, Swiftfoot Raptor mounts, Unicorns, and White Wolves. Well, there's also just basic mounts when you get into it. So, I'm just gonna show, okay, human. Now,
What
you
is
have
their origin culture?
their cultures, and each one has has specific base units, and they have, as you can see, certain little quirks. And it also sets the style of your how they look. It gives you the units, it gives you the look, and it also gives you certain quirks, perks, a direction for how that specific culture works. So, feudal, a hierarchic society where lords, ladies, and knights reign over peasants. All stand together in battle when their fertile realm is threatened. So you're very basic medieval society. Medieval European, I guess you could say, or even go so far as to Eastern European. Or, sorry, Western European base. But your basic medieval society. Then you have high, which is more of a fantasy medieval society, that is, highly developed society whose members strive for harmony. When threatened, however, they wield their guarding light as a weapon. They have a higher stability and higher knowledge income. Their units are strengthened with Awaken, which is something to get to talk about, what in gameplay, revealing their hidden potential. Plus 10 alignment, and they have alignment agenda. So they're kind of like gearing toward goody two-shoes playstyle, paladins and all that, but you don't have to. Then you have the Oathsworn, which is actually divided up between 3 different oaths, and they're your Asian-style culture. And they have, when they made this, it was they were influenced by like Japanese, Chinese, Indonesian, Filipino, a little bit of Indian, Thai mythology and culture. So Asian. And a society that functions through a strong sense of devotion, rewarding its rulers for their dedication to their chosen oath. Has higher draft income, and draft income is one of the resources in a way. What draft is it allows your draft income allows you to recruit new units and swear devotion to an oath that guides their people. So, harmony, your people follow a path of harmony, seeking cooperation to clear the world of threats, gain 100% relations with free cities and rulers. Pardon me. Oh, that was unfortunate. Acid reflux out of nowhere. Tea. Yes, my big tea mug. So you have 2 different types of rulers or cities or whatever. You have free cities, and then you have player/AI cities. The player/AI factions will actively go out and try and take land and build up and go to war and do all of that. Whereas the free cities and rulers, they're individual cities, might have like little perks and such, and you can do certain things. You can turn them into vassals, you can conquer them, whatever. And depending on how you interact with them, can give you different bonuses. But they don't normally go out and try to take things over. They just stay within their walls. Maybe sending out a couple of units to just take care of, like, mobs. When vassalizing a conquered city, they start at something vassalage phase instead of at tributary. So I think that that's a little higher whenever you're vassalizing a city. Sure. Culture units have harmonize. Let's look at that real quick. Okay. Vassalage. The free city shares 30% of its income, shares all of its magic materials, contributes to something to the rally of the Legis. That's something I didn't really do anything with before. Trading costs are at default levels. War coordination becomes available. Whereas tributary shares 20% of its income, shares all of its magical materials, contributes to trading costs increased by 25%. Which means that it is more expensive to trade with them. War coordination is disabled and no new armies will be sent out. So harmonize. When this unit drops below 60% of their maximum hit points, gain an effect based on the culture's devotion. Okay, and you get devotion through your oath, how your oath is based. So with them, it's essentially getting you get devotion through neutral and harmonious actions. So I'm guessing like peace treaties and alliances and removing map hazards and removing like bandits and things like that. Depending on your devotion level, you get, you know, those units of your culture get like these bonuses depending on, you know, the level. So yeah, so the strength of the harmonized nobility and warrior soul culture unit abilities. So, Oath of Harmony. Gain devotion by having a city or vassal of another race plus 20 devotion. Or, yeah. Clearing an infestation or ancient wonder plus 15 devotion. Making a truce plus 10 devotion. Forgiving a grievance plus 5 devotion. Lose devotion by starting a war. Raising or migrating a hostile city, minus 20. Fabricating a grievance, minus 20. Okay. You have righteousness, which are you're literally aiming toward good alignment. You're taking out undead. You're taking out infestations. You are protecting others, and you also have events that occur in the game. When the events happen, depending on your alignment, will depend on what the events that you encounter will be, and depending on how you interact with them or try to resolve these events will also affect your alignment, along with other things. And there's also events that are based on chance. Like, oh, you might get a 20% chance of doing this, of getting this, or 20% chance of getting that, 40% chance of this happening. And then strife, it's pillaging, razing cities, doing evil acts, things like that. And each one has so the units are based on a tier system. Your base units are tier 1, then you have tier 2 units, then tier 3 units, tier 4 units, and the top is tier 5. And I believe that you get your tier 3 units. I can't remember if your top cultural units are tier 3 or tier 4. But the top unit for each one is different. So Harmony gets the guy on the horse with the bow. And they have special abilities designated specifically to that unit. Righteousness has the individual on the left that is wearing that crazy helmet with the glowing eyes and has the sword on their shoulder. They have a special ability called Helm Splitter, which is evidently pretty nasty. Strife, the dude with the antlers, right there. Guy basically can do a bum rush and slam his Tetsubo right into them with fire. So there you go. Okay, now let's get into Barbarian. Barbarians are your primitive people who thrive on war and aggression. They value strength and prefer to charge head-on into bloody battles. It's higher food and draft income. Units have Savage Strike, dealing extra damage on a critical hit. And Ritual of Alacrity. Okay, so they're savage, more primitive individuals. And I mean, honestly, you create the character, you create the civilization. So if you want them to be noble savages, they're noble savages. You want them to be chaotic, you make them chaotic. You want them to be, battle raging mole people that are cannibals and sure. You do you. I have my own craziness, which isn't all that far off. Primal, which are kind of like the barbarians, but they have very different structures in how they work, because they actually have subcultures based on a primal animal that they worship. So, Primal, a people who worship powerful animal spirits and channel their fury during battle. They receive blessings by altering their environment. Higher food income, alter provinces into the primal animal's favorite terrain. Now, let's take a look. Each one has a few little specialties with to differentiate each one. And also, when you choose one of these, it designates what terrain type that they start in. So Mire Crocodile, they start in swamps, and they can actually terraform the land as they go through to make more swamp. And they are better equipped to living and surviving and prospering in swamps than other civilizations would be otherwise, unless they took the swamp adaptation feature for the race. Stormcrows, grasslands. Mind you, they each also have a damage type that they deal with. So Mire Crocodiles are blight, Stormcrows lightning/electricity. Now, on the right, you're also going to see symbols, and I'll get to that very soon. Okay, so Glacial Mammoth, Tundra, snow stuff. They deal with ice. Ash Sabertooth, fire. With them, it is Ashlands. Dune Serpent, which is, I think, physical, and with them it is desert. Tunneling Spider, I think, is also blight, and they're underground. So yes, you have underground in here. You have, like, if you're into Dungeons and Dragons or whatever, it's kind of like the Underdark. And then you have Sylvan Wolf, which is forest, and they deal spirit damage. Okay, moving on. Reavers are a very different game style in that they are big on capturing and turning individuals into their own units, in a way. They're also very big on siege battles. they're not necessarily geared toward just peaceful relations. A society of industrial opportunists, pragmatic and brutal. They combine the material and the arcane, expanding their dominion through conquests and hunts. Industrious. Master builders who value grand cities and strong armor, preferring a defensive attitude over an aggressive one. So yeah, their armor and everything is very blocky. They gear more toward defense and defensive tactics, and they are very big on production and building and things like that. More so than making units. And their scouts, which is one of the tier 1 units, you use a scout to scout around, and you can literally put them on like auto explore to explore for you and see what's going on. They have a very interesting thing here, which is actually quite potent if used properly. When industrious scout units stand within a friendly or neutral province that contains a cliff, mountain, or stalagmite, the player that owns the scout unit can prospect the province for production or gold rewards. So that's actually pretty important, because that allows them to have the opportunity to make an area that is normally not very useful for building a city, and make it incredibly tactically useful. Dark. They're your fantasy dark evil style fantasy kingdom. And they're, as you can see, lower on alignment. A dictatorial civilization where the strong and ruthless dominate the weak. They use forbidden magics to maintain control and weaken their enemies. Cities can ignore penalties from low city stability, has higher knowledge income, and gain extra income from prisons and crypts. Units specialize in inflicting negative status effects and exploiting them with Call the Weak. So they can be pretty powerful. And then you have the Mystics, which have 3 schools. 3. Tres. Son. Drei. A culture of scholars driven to study every corner of the astral sea. They prefer to find answers through research and arcane prowess. Has higher mana income. Mana income is used specifically for casting big spells, like summoning a permanent unit to help you out, which we'll get into. But it's also for casting spells that will permanently, for the most part permanently, buff certain units or have an impact on another city, whether it's your own or someone else's. World spells, things like that. And you do have, like, upkeep. So as long as your income is higher than your upkeep, you don't have a problem. Okay, powerful interactions with spells depending on their subculture. So let's see the subcultures real quick. Okay, attunement. Your people are versatile spellcasters attuned to the arcane. Units gain attunement Starblades. Collect astral echoes through exploration and research. Use echo casting to cast spells beyond normal limits. Okay. Potential. Your people are experimental spellcasters seeking knowledge in the arcane. Combat spells are always overcharged the first time they are cast each combat. Use spells to exploit arcane inspiration and gain an economic edge. This culture's units inflict dissonance with their attacks. Okay. From what I've heard, this is a this tends to be a little more on the complicated side. Because you have to have a pretty good idea of how everything works. And setting things up and being very strategic. And lucky at the same time. And then you have summoning, which evidently, from what I've heard, is considered to be probably the best out of the three of these. Your people are powerful summoners specializing in magical creatures. Magic origin units gain attunement astral resonance. Collect astral echoes through exploration and research. Use echo infusion to rank up your magic origins units rapidly, and this culture's units gain astral connection. Okay. Now, we are just going to go into feudal. Now, the next thing
defines their society.
You have society traits. Chosen uniters, devotees of good, imperialists, prolific swarmers. Each of these gives you bonuses and kind of has a little bit of an impact on how you're going to be working everything throughout the lifespan of the culture you create. And whenever you take one, it might have you can't have this trait if you have that trait. Excellent examples of this are you can't have scions of evil if you're chosen uniters, or you can't be a devotee of good if you're a ritual cannibal, or ruthless raiders, or scions of evil, or emerald disciples. So yeah, then there's also the aspect that certain cultures are incompatible with certain society traits. So certain cultures will not allow you to even have certain society traits. So I'm just going to choose experienced seafarers and runesmiths. Why not?
Choose your first tome of magic.
Okay. Now, with this, each I'm sure that you saw there were these strange little symbols off to the side, and they're up on the top left. You have a green leaf and a weird yellow eye looking thing, and an orange with a jewel in it. And there are numbers by them. Okay, so each of those are an affinity. These are your tones. You choose one of them to start off with. And they go up in tiers as well, 1 through 5. You start with 1. Each of these tomes can give you access to the spells here. And you have to research these spells. And a lot of them also give you a unit. And as you can see here, this is the Wild Speaker. This is specific to this tome. And this if you have the Wild Speaker research and active, you can create Wild Speakers in your cities. Now each one of these has an affinity connection, and by taking one, it increases that affinity by that amount. So this Tome of Beasts would give you a nature affinity of +2. But it also gives you access to the building of the Wildlife Sanctuary, which you build in your city. Or cities. Okay, so each tome also has a focus, like walk beside the animals of nature, specialize in summoning and buffing animals, and become stronger when standing next to them. Then there's Tome of Roots, which is based on discovering the power of the natural world and specializing in mobilizing enemies and healing allies. And this has a bit involving with you doing blight damage and using plants. And you get Summon Entwined Thrall, which is a plant person. Which I'm surprised that they didn't allow you to have a plant-based racial form, species form, whatever you want to call it. They might do that later DLC. That would be cool. I have a lot of forms that I believe that they should put in, and I'm very, very, very aggravated that they didn't add one, which is octopus people. We need octopus people. We need to make octopus people and fish people. Because I want to make Innsmouth. I want to make H.P. Lovecraft's Innsmouth. I mean, you can basically create Dagon or like something akin to Cthulhu already. So, yeah. I mean, I kind of did make like a Cthulhu type thing, but yeah. So then we have Tome of Evolution, which came out with the with one of the DLCs that was focused on dragons. Take young primal forces and nurture them into formidable allies. So this is getting into like draconic magic. This gives you +1 nature affinity, +1 chaos affinity. Tome of Zeal. When, you know, you just gotta go and get your crazy religious obsession thing going on. Yep, got your zealot here. This is it gives you +2 order affinity. It also gives you the circle of zealotry. Did that give you? No, it didn't. Rile up your fanatic population for a common goal. Use units with zeal and inflict condemned on enemies. Tome of Faith. This is basically healing and support magic. You get the Abbey, and you also get +2 order affinity. So chaplain, you have like army heal, things like that. Necromancy. I mean, hey, nothing wrong with a little bit of necromancy here. Harvest souls from your enemies and create undead creatures. Specialize in unexpendable units and starting your soul economy. I mean, honestly, it's probably still more ethical and moral than Bitcoin. Dealing with souls, yeah. I'd invest in souls. Maybe. I don't know. Things have been getting pretty weird lately. They've always been weird. But with them you get +2 shadow affinity, soul harvest, and you can build a soul well. You get the necromancer. Because everyone wants a necromancer. Everyone. They're great. You know, who doesn't want to have, you know, your local neighborhood necromancer around when you accidentally get hit by a truck? And you know, the doctor can't bring you back. Well, the necromancer can. might smell a little funny and have an odd craving for blood or brains or human flesh or McDonald's. I mean, at least you're back to being able to be somewhat functional. Maybe. Cryomancy. Specializing in dealing frost damage and inflicting frozen. And you get Shadow Affinity in the School of Cryomancy. You get the White Witch. Summon Lesser Snow Spirit. So yeah. Tome of the Tentacle. Conjure tentacle mutations and creatures from the depths to restrain and constrict your enemies, keeping them right where you want them. I mean, this is probably the most normal out of all of them. I mean, it's... Come on, I'm from the Northeast. So... everything here is tentacles and fish people and weird eldritch abominations. That's just how it is around here. Take a dip in the river, you come out with a couple of extra tentacles, and yeah. Thing is, you don't know if they're your tentacles or something else's. The parties can get pretty wild. But, yeah, Constrictor's one of them. It's a polearm unit. Got some long arms, man. All the better for the hugging. And good cuddles. You ever cuddle an octopus? They know how to do it right. Tome of Warding. Specializes in magic that protects your units from damage and retaliates against enemies that attack you. So, this is like defensive magic for the most part. Still, yeah, very useful in my opinion. It's always good to make it so you're able to be protected from damage and negative effects. Initial bonus is +2 astral affinity. So that's astral. Tome of Evocation. Grants excellent and cheap attack spells to any aspiring wizard. So this does a lot of lightning damage. I mean, Benjamin Franklin, come on. You get the channeling tower. Been funny if they would have done something where it's like, on occasion you'd see like a short rotund guy who's bald with, white hair on the fringes with a kite. That'd been great. Or some skinny, weird-looking dude with a mustache staying on top of the tower with like, or sitting on top of the tower in a chair reading a newspaper with like a big coil going on off next to him. That would work too. Tome of Pyromancy. Specialize in high fire damage by inflicting and exploiting burning. This is +2 chaos affinity in the ritual pyre. When you absolutely and utterly need to cook something fast, you can get the lesser magma spirit and the pyromancer. Tome of the Horde. Turn your cheapest units into large deadly armies. Specialize in summoning and buffing tier 1 units. +2 chaos affinity and the mob camp. Fury of the Horde and Houndmaster and things like that. So this is good for like I haven't messed around with it at all, but I'm thinking that it's probably good for, like, when you really want to rush. Do, like, there's an old saying that we used to have with StarCraft, the Zerg Rush. When you get a load of ridiculous amounts of cheap units, and you overwhelm with numbers. Yeah, sure, they might be taking those cheap little units out, but they can only strike so much in so much time. They can only take so many out, regardless, before they are overwhelmed. Tome of Enchantment. Got the copper golem with this. Improve your units with unit enchantments and specialize in physical damage. And this is the Materium Affinity, and you get the Rune Carver skin. So this is good for helping to build and, like, make magic items and improve, like, the effectiveness of the weapons of your units. Tome of the Rock. Smash your enemies with the Force of Stone. Specialize in increasing your defenses and dealing physical damage. The age-old little pastime of smashing someone in the face with a rock applies here. So does covering your skin in mud and waiting for it to dry out, to make it so it's, more difficult for you to be harmed by the predators. Just in this case, it's making it so it's more difficult for you to be hurt, instead of, if you being Arnold Schwarzenegger and making it so it's more difficult for the predator to see you with its thermal vision. That would be an interesting type of thing to have in here. Huh. But you get the Central Quarry and the +2 Materium Affinity with this. Tome of Discipline. Age of Wonders, Ways of War. Channel your inner strength to empower your attacks and cleanse your body. You get monks with this. Now, I am a big fan of martial arts and monks. So this is always something that I think is awesome. So this gets into, like, the martial arts type stuff. You get +1 Materium Affinity, +1 Order Affinity, and you get the Monastery. Then you get the Tome of Alchemy. Inflict your enemies with debuffs and mitigate them on your own units. Tinctures in a powerful ranged unit will help you manipulate the tides of battle. I think this is a really neat little thing. I haven't played with it. You get the Alchemist Lab. It's +1 Materium Affinity and +1 Nature Affinity. But it seems interesting. I'm interested in checking it out and seeing how this plays around. But we'll see. At some point, maybe. And then that's it. But now, mind you, these are your starting tomes. You gain access to more powerful tomes as the game progresses. So I'm just going to start off with this.
What is your ruler's origin?
And as you can see, the top left, it's had an impact on my affinities. Now the affinities are going to have an impact on something else that I'm going to show whenever I actually start the game. So your ruler types are champion, a ruler risen from the ranks of their people. Mortal champions have access to unique army leadership hero skills. Mortal champion rulers gain +20% experience. Start with +100 relationship with the free cities. So they already are starting off with, like, the free cities are kind of like, yeah, you're a person. We're cool with you because you're a person. We know your person type, your personhood. You didn't come from, like, some weird back realm that's hidden between the stars. Or like, you didn't, come down from the mountains after finding out that you were sleeping for 400 years and now you need to eat some, eat an entire herd of sheep. Or you're a mime. If you're a mime, then there's a problem. And Mortal Champion rulers start with the command ability in combat. Let's see what that does exactly, if I can. Yeah. Command. Target friendly non-hero unit regains its action points. Okay, so that's actually really good because that makes it so when you're in battle, you have action points. And so, like, different things take so many action points, depending on how far they move, depending on what action they use, can take 1, 2, or more. But this basically allows the commander, or the champion, to use an action point of theirs to regain 1 or more action points of one of the individuals that already used their turn, so they could go again. And it has a 2-turn cooldown, so that's actually pretty decent. Okay, next we have the Wizard King. A powerful wizard seeking dominion over a new realm. Wizard Kings have access to unique combat spell-enhancing hero skills. All conduits grant +2 mana. Wizard Kings start with the channeling ritual ability in combat. Let's see what that does. Channeling ritual allows you to cast an additional spell this turn. This effect does not stack. It's actually pretty useful. Okay.
Choose your first tome of magic. What is your ruler's origin?
Then you have Dragon Lord. If you're thinking, wow, really? You can make your own dragon? Are you telling me that you can have a dragon as the main character and as the ruler of your civilization? The answer is yes. Yes. Yes, you can. Dragon Lords have access to unique combat hero skills. Good job. Dragon Lords gain powerful transformation hero signature skills based on Empire affinities, which means as time goes on and your Dragon Lord gains levels and power, they can get to a certain point where they can evolve into a more powerful dragon, dependent on what affinities you have with them and the focuses that you've put on them. Gain extra gold through their dragon horde, which is actually pretty cool. Dragon Lords have a 30 gold unit upkeep and cannot equip most hero items, which is pretty huge. So they have an upkeep of 30 gold that every turn you have to pay 30 gold to maintain them. And they can't use most hero items or equip most hero items. There are still some, but they can't wear boots. I don't think that they could wear, a helmet or an armor. They might be able to put like a ring on their horn or on a claw or something like that. Maybe wear like a cape. Maybe wear it like a little ascot. I don't know. I don't know exactly what they can and can't use. But still, anytime you can be a dragon, that's pretty badass. And if you don't think so, well, I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. Personally, I'm a dragon fanatic. I love dragons. I always have. My family loves dragons. I mean, my parents collected, well, my mother collected dragon paraphernalia, and my dad loves dragons. He has dragon stuff, and he has a huge dragon tattoo on his one arm. So, yeah, I grew up loving dragons. And I love them to this day. I have dragon statues, and I have dragon books, and I have dragon candles, and all kinds of things. I have a dragon sitting right next to me. Oh no! He's a dragon! Roar! Roar! Roar. Go back to your home. So yeah. Okay. And next we have the Eldritch Sovereign. An Eldritch ruler with powers beyond mortal comprehension. Eldritch Sovereigns have access to powerful control hero skills. Eldritch Sovereigns gain powerful unique hero signature skills. Use thralls to cast powerful ritual spells. Start with clairvoyance, ritual, and enthrall population. Eldritch Sovereigns have a 5 mana unit upkeep and cannot equip leg and mount items. Okay, like the dragons, they have an upkeep. You have to have more than that upkeep in income to maintain them properly. And they can't use leg or mount items. Okay. That's not as restrictive as the Dragon War. But Eldritch Sovereigns have a lot of other restrictions, like the weapons that they can use and certain aspects of their powers are very, very specific. But still, I am a huge fan of the Cthulhu mythos. I'm a huge fan of H.P. Lovecraft. I love Clark Ashton Smith and Robert E. Howard. I will sit down here and there and I will just turn on certain YouTube channels that are literally nothing but cosmic and body horror stories being read off. And these are stories, the majority of them, if not all of them, are, were made before, like, even the 1960s. A lot of them were made in the 1930s and 40s, 1920s, 1910s. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of cosmic horror, body horror, eldritch horror, things like that. Huge fan. Huge fan of horror in general, but I like monsters and ghosts and aliens, demons, and things like that. Things that are supernatural and paranormal and unusual and weird and sci-fi. Love all that. Not the biggest fan of, like, slashers. I'll watch them. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll sit down and I'll watch them within reason. But I'm not the biggest fan of a human psychopath running around cutting people up. It's not normally my thing. Some are okay. I mean, sure, I like the Saw series, but I've only seen, I think, Saw 1, 2, and 3. I don't even know if I can't remember if I saw the fourth one, and I haven't seen any after that. But I like them. And I do like dark comedy, like Cabin in the Woods. The new one was funny. Love that. I have that on Blu-ray. I have Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Excellent movie. Absolutely hilarious. Love it. The Evil Dead movies. Love them. Army of Darkness. Ash versus Evil Dead was fun. Like gore and blood, I'm fine with it. I like it, but I don't know if it as long as it's done right. I mean, I love Hellraiser. I absolutely love the Hellraiser movies, and they're gore fests. They're pretty wild on that. I was raised on the Alien movies. Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 3, Alien 4, which was done by Joss Whedon. Yeah, well, you know, it was funny. It was fun. Prometheus, which, yeah, I don't know. I like Prometheus. It was better than 3. It was better than 3 by far, in my opinion. Was it better than Alien Resurrection? I don't know about that one. But it was okay. I like how I like what they tried to do with it. Alien Covenant was good, in my opinion. It was very good. I thought it was better than... I definitely thought it was better than Alien Resurrection. Alien 3, I think, was the worst out of all of them. But Alien Covenant, I thought was good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. It was a little different. And it was a little bit of a different direction, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. And then I did see Alien Romulus, which I thought was fantastic. I thought it was excellent. So yeah, I was raised on Alien, Alien 2, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection. I was raised on the Hellraiser movies. I was raised on the Predator movies. So I grew up loving supernatural, paranormal, monster, sci-fi, cosmic horror. Alright, so let's get into this. We're just going to look at the champion for right now, because it's easy.
Reveal yourself.
Okay, so here you can choose you can design your banner within reason, and the first color is going to have an impact on the color of your army. The second is just the symbol inside, and there's a whole list of symbols. And you can now customize your ruler. So you have your classes: Defender, Mage, Ranger, Ritualist, Warrior, Death Knight, Spellblade. Each have like little quirks specific to them, like Spellblade's a hero class that uses both melee and magic, attacks to deal magic damage from a distance and physical damage when the enemy gets close. Okay. Death Knight, a hero class that specializes in high damage melee attacks, backed up by debuffs and summoned undead units. Warrior, a hero class that specializes in charge attacks, dealing damage and gaining strength through fighting. Ritualist, a class hero that, wow, a hero class that specializes in support through healing buffs and combat summons. Ranger, a hero class that specializes in range damage, skirmishing, and disrupting enemies. Mage, a hero class that specializes in magic damage, area effect attacks, and inflicting debilitating status effects. And Defender, a hero class that specializes in defending its allies, survivability, and retaliation. Okay. And each one has a set of weapons and gear that they can use. So with Defender, and this is just start off, sword and shield. Okay, now there's also gear specific to the cultures. Like with, I think, the Primal, you don't get access to the bow right off the bat. You have to find a bow. But you can use either a blowgun or a javelin. Okay, so let's go into Mage. So with the Mage, you have access to Spirit Orb and Staff of Spirit. Okay, and you have like different.
What is your ruler's origin?
I'm gonna do that here and there because my hands
Reveal
don't
yourself.
listen. Okay, so Ranger. Here's another one. Okay, so here you have the bow, you have the javelin, sword and crossbow, sword and net. Okay. With the Reavers, you also have access to guns. And with one or two of the others, you have access to like a heavy crossbow. A Ritualist actually has the same loadout as the Mage Warrior. Okay, so with Warrior, you have sword and shield, great sword. Yeah. Lance. And you also get, you know, depending on your loadout may also include a mount. Okay? And then you have Lance of Glory, which is actually specific to getting one of the season passes. Okay, so let's just go into Greatsword. Okay, so you have body type, you know, male or female. Okay, physique will affect how skinny and how thick they are, so let's, there you go. Got the down with the thickness. Okay, arm length, you know, you can make yourself have really long arms and be very short. Or very long and have really short arms. You know, long legs, short arms. Cool. Skin decoration. Yeah, this can actually have an impact on how they look considerably. So, yeah, it's kind of like patterns and tattoo type stuff. You have your poses. This doesn't have anything. Yeah, a lot of this doesn't really have much to do with anything mechanically. You have your head, you know, this is your general facial structure, your eye color. You have all these different eye types. So, you know, give her my eyes. There you go. Hairstyle, make her bald. Do whatever on that. Hair colors, outfits. You have like the different types of outfits. You know, make her look nice, make her look badass, make her look hot. This doesn't look right to me. Oh. So, you know, give her, you know, change up the cape or make it so they don't have a cape. Do whatever. Okay, and then you have her armor color. Now you go into the race. Okay. Same thing. You got the physique, arm length, leg length, army skin color. So if you want to turn around and make them look like they literally are Irish people who went out into the Sahara, you could do that. If you want them to look like they ate way too many blueberries, you could do that. You do your thing. Now their hair color isn't as, they don't have as many things, options for hair color as the leader does. Now you could also do the army mount type. And here you have some fun stuff. You got the pony, you got the brown horse, you got the wolf, you got the white horse, you got the danger piggy, you got the danger doggo, also known as a warg, I think. That might be a warg. You got the danger noodle with legs. You got the brown bear, you got the polar bear, you got the big bad beetle. You got the swamp puppy. I like swamp puppies. You got the kitty with an overbite. And then you got this might actually be the warg. Either way. So right there. So now you have let me just do this. Yeah, because that looks normal. This is what people in Florida actually look like. Oh, wait a minute. All right. This is what people in Florida actually look like. Well, maybe some of them. A couple. Possibly. And then, once you're done with all this, then
your journey
you have
begins.
You know, descriptions, you have... This is more AI. Because when you're not using them, they
Reveal
can
yourself.
be used for, by the AI in a game. Now, something else I'm going to show you is the Pantheon. Okay. Now the Pantheon, when you beat a game, when you beat a map with one of the rulers, whether it is one that you've created or a pre-created ruler, you get points. And let's see. These points are used to buy things in your Pantheon. They range from cosmetics to actual culture traits to hero classes to new weapons, all the way up to even like new banner icons, new maps, okay, new things that can be made in game in the forges, new you even have, like, as of now, only a few cosmetic additions for your for dragons and for eldritch lords. Right now, there's 151 Pantheon rewards. you can have a maximum of 50 Pantheon rulers. Now, there is another DLC that's supposed to be coming out within the next, I'm going to say, 6 months, probably, maybe. That's going to have a focus on giants, which is supposed to allow you to make a giant leader. Okay. That is going to be, in its own, kind of huge. Because it's a giant endeavor. And it's a massive step in the, okay, I'm gonna stop now. It's also gonna have like some more stuff for the underground. It's gonna have like crystal magic, things like that. The latest one that came out was the Way of the Warrior, whatever, the WW on the bottom. And that's the Asian culture, which also gave the Onikin, or the Ogrekin, and the Simian forms. It also brought in like some Asian type stuff for the maps. Like, yeah, it's pretty awesome, in my opinion. So we'll see how that happens. Another thing to keep in mind is whenever you create your ruler and you get into the game, as they level up, they have skill trees that you put points into to develop them. And depending on the type of ruler you have, is going to depend on how those develop. The Dragon and the Eldritch Sovereign work differently than the Wizard and the Champion, because they're more monstrous. So it's going to affect their forms and their powers. Instead of, well, now you can turn around and be like a berserker. Or now you can go and fire your bow like Legolas. Or something like that. Or you get new spells that gear in with a focus that you're aiming at. So yeah. So there you go. This is the intro. This is a basic intro and description. Nice and long, because I've been talking my ass off for about an hour and 17 minutes. So I will put this down in the to start, and the next video will be actual gameplay, and I get to kind of explain little bits here and there with that as I go on. But I just wanted to make this video to show the basics of Age of Wonders 4. Through my eyes, through my experience. So, take of it what you will. Do what you will. I think that this is a fantastic game. I love this game. And I haven't played it in over a year, because I knew how addictive this game can be. You can sit down and it feels like it's only been 5 minutes when it turns out that, you know, it's been 7 hours. It's that kind of a game. Triumph and Paradox did a fantastic job with this. The creators of this game, I think, did a great job, and they're still working on it. They're still adding things to it. They're still building on it. And they're having fun with it. I recommend going to the Age of Wonders YouTube channel, because they like to show things for this. They like to bring in, you know, they like to do little shorts making fun of the of this, because one of the big things in this is dire penguins. They absolutely love dire penguins, and they have plushy dire penguins out there. They'll do playthroughs and all that themselves, and especially whenever a new DLC is coming out, because they like to show what you could do in it before it's dropped, so people could build up a little bit of hype behind it, and they like to show, hey, we're playing it in front of you, so you can see that we actually play our own games and enjoy our own games, and explaining through gameplay. And if there are glitches or bugs or whatever, they do what they can to you know, take care of them. To my experience, from what I've seen. Doesn't mean that they get every single one. Doesn't mean that they listen to everyone. They're a company. They're people. They're only able to handle so much, and see so much, and hear so much, and take care of so much at any given time. So yeah, but I appreciate what they do. I like what they do, and that's my take. It's my opinion, my perception, my view, my, you know, everyone's going to have their own feelings and everything on this. Is this game for everyone? Absolutely not. Are there people that are going to find this game to be completely and absolutely boring? Yes. Yes, there are. Are there going to be people that are going to find this game to be way over their head? I believe so. But it's the same thing for... I don't like Call of Duty. Call of Duty is ridiculously, you know, popular and well known. It's one of the biggest franchises out there. It's not my thing. I'm not really into a lot of these first-person shooters. I'm not skilled enough to do them. My reactions are not geared toward that. My hands don't work properly for a lot of that stuff. I've played them, sure, but I'm not that good at games. And I've been playing them since I was a child. As far as I can remember, I think 4 or 5 years old, playing Nintendo. I had a Nintendo at my mother's house and a Nintendo at my father's house. So I could bring my games back and forth and sit down and play them back and forth. And I got a Super Nintendo. I got a Genesis. I got a Sega CD. I got a PlayStation and an Xbox and a Sega Saturn and a Dreamcast and an N64 and a GameCube, PS2, Xbox 360, PS3, PS4, now Xbox Series X. Never got a Switch, because I couldn't afford one, it's, it is what it is. Never got the Xbox One because there's something about it that I didn't want to deal with. I liked my PlayStation 4. I do not have a PlayStation 5 because I cannot afford a PlayStation 5. And I only deal with I prefer to only have the systems that have disk drives because I'm big into physical media. And here we are. Because I'm very big into physical media. I'm very big into game preservation. But I never got the Wii, never got the Wii U. I don't have a gaming PC because I can't afford it. I got the Xbox Series X because something happened and I was able to get one. And I wanted to be able to play Starfield because I'm a huge Bethesda fan. And yes, I know all the controversies involving the craziness with them, but I love Skyrim. I love Oblivion. I love Fallout 3. I love Fallout 4. I played Daggerfall back in the day. I have so many copies of Skyrim, it's stupid. But, yeah. Alright, well, I've rambled on long enough. It has been an hour and 26 minutes, according to my OBS. And I will let this drop off here. Thank you very much for watching my video. Like, comment, subscribe, do whatever. If you want. I mean, what's going to happen if you don't? Nothing. So, but I appreciate that you have watched this. And hopefully it gave you some kind of info, knowledge, whatever. Maybe made you smile a little bit. Need to smile more these days. So much is happening in the world. So thank you very much. And hope to see you again soon. Be well.